Before we start the video, I wish to clarify, I have nothing against this iteration of the game and I personally loved it.
You want white or wheat toast with your omelet, Miss Grace of an Ox?
Remaster has been done rather efficiently, true to the original source, and most of the graphical bugs that did plague the earlier versions of the game have now been fixed. It's the Ubisoft as a publisher and their anti-gaming policies that's the culprit here. Ubisoft remains hell-bent on making sure you know that you're using their launcher UbiConnect. It won't stop pushing achievement messages in-game. Look at the size of the notification. It is taking too much real estate. This is not the way to make people go on board for something. Further now, earlier versions of the game stands removed from Steam. And it's only available on Ubisoft Connect and GOG. And there's also no discount for the previous owners for buying the newer version. Moreover, had the previous version worked well on PC, Ubisoft wouldn't be able to resell this game in the first place. Now trying to play the game offline without this coveted launcher results in you being locked out of your own game. It's one thing you want people to use your ecosystem for monetary reasons, I get that much. But at least make it attractive to use. Don't make us gamers who choose to buy your shitty games end up being harassed. Now is it me or these remaster versions are getting lazier by the day? Autosave has been added, but the ability to save manually has been taken away. One cannot save and overwrite a previously existing file, although game does recognize multiple files when we boot the game for the first time. Even the earlier version had multiple save slots. What happened here? Now this nitpick is rather personal of mine. Keyboard controls cannot be changed. Further controls are changed from earlier version and now crouching happens with C and the button needs to be pressed constantly for Jade to stay in the position. And with no way to configure these controls, game becomes a pain in the ass during those stealth missions. It's an old port and there seems to be no reason for something like this to occur in 2024. Here also Ubisoft manages to get on my nerves. Why can't I skip these end credits? You can only fast forward it and for that too, you must press the shift button and hold it forever. What the f Ubisoft? And these credits are like 15 minutes long. It's pathetic how Ubisoft has fallen to new lows. Another problem that I faced was once I stopped the Ubi launcher from showing me those pesky ads, my Steam achievements also stopped unlocking. So basically after 20 years, Ubisoft out of the blue decides to remaster one of its abandoned shitty port on PC and in doing so gives the longtime fans of the game one giant middle finger.
I didn't know how this machine worked.
So now that's out of the way, let's talk about our game. What made this game so special and why it is still revered by fans and critics alike. The game is the brainchild of Michael Ansel. After working on Rayman series, Ansel wanted to move on to something different. And this is where Beyond Good and Evil comes in. He envisioned to pack a whole universe onto a single disc containing mountains, planets and towns. The idea was to make the player feel like an explorer with a sense of absolute freedom. The game was developed with a 30-member development team. A second goal behind the game's design was to create a meaningful story, and to some extent, game manages to succeed at that. Let's look back in time. It's 2003. Ubisoft is not the greedy publisher that we know and hate, but a budding new publisher not afraid of trying new things and coming up with interesting IPs. Along comes Beyond Good and Evil, a third-person action-adventure game with greater emphasis on stealth and puzzle solving.
And I thought you were just another pretty face.
Game's protagonist Jade can fight too, if the occasion calls for, but it's not the strong suit of the game. Game does not force you to choose any style, be it stealth or action, with a few exceptions.
I'll take care of this minor detail myself.
The overall story is great, and mechanics to incorporate the AI companions work well. You are almost never alone and have a computer-controlled character with you. Each character is given a unique ability to help Jade on her journey. These characters also help the player in-game during combat scenes and sometimes also give hints regarding the path to be taken. Game is at its best when we are either exploring or navigating Jade through these stealth areas, and this is where the game shines. It's fun to explore these hidden areas undetected, clicking pictures, gathering intel and collecting pearls along the way. These stealth missions are a joy to play, but there's one minor issue. Even after getting detected, we can just hide inside these safe zones and enemy will pretend that everything is okay.
Zone cleared!
and will go back to business as usual. If you do not like the hiding part, then there is also an option for fighting your way out of it. The game was praised for its graphics on console back in 2003, but on PC, the port Ubisoft launched was full of bugs, and Ubisoft, being Ubisoft, chose not to fix those. Thankfully, this current iteration of the game has been improved over the original release, especially the textures and lighting in the game have been reworked. Character models have also been upgraded and are more detailed now. Game now can be played without any major issues, except for that stupid UbiConnect issue. Musical score of the game is fantastic and fits the atmosphere perfectly, with a mixture of styles matching the different gameplay sections. Relaxed and upbeat for exploration, tense for the stealth missions, and fast-paced music for action sequences. The score is considered to be a classic in its own right. The game's iconic and eclectic soundtrack was composed by Christophe Harrell, who also made a comeback for the 20th anniversary of the game. Before we proceed further, a word of caution: spoilers will be in effect. Game story takes place on the mining planet of Helice, located somewhere in a remote section of the galaxy. Game starts with attack on the planet by an alien race called Doms, who abduct other species and make them their slaves. Our protagonist Jade lives on a lighthouse with her uncle Paige, and together they take care of the children of Helice orphaned by these attacks.
Go tell Paige. I'll take care of the shield.
While meditating outside, Jade hears siren sounds signaling the impending attack. Jade rushes to turn the shield on, but discovers that the power has been cut off due to lack of funds.
Shield disabled.
Your Optima account is
350.
units short. Your electric.
As a result, Dom's creatures manage to abduct a number of orphans, forcing Jade to fight these creatures to save the children. With Paige's help, she defeats Dom's monsters.
You take picture of it and tenga mucho units.
Secundo finds a photography job for Jade so she can pay for electricity and turn on the shield. The job involves cataloging all the species on Helice for a science museum. This was game's fun little way of letting players roam around and explore the game world in the search of these animals, and for this tiring effort, we are awarded with precious pearls.
Good. I'll transfer a pearl to you, Jade.
Highly sought after means of currency, which are also needed to carry forward the plot. The missions and important information is briefed to the player via M-Discs.
Jade reporting. Jade reporting. Mission ended.
And these discs can only be accessed through the use of these decryptors. So, our first mission is offered by Mr. de Castellac,
Hello, miss. I've been commissioned by Mr. de Castellac.
who wishes that Jade takes pictures of Dom's twins seen hidden in a nearby mining island. But these twins turn out to be a huge monster and Jade is forced to fight it. After the monster is defeated,
Mr. de Castellac never really existed. I think I owe you some explanations, Miss Jade.
de Castellac reveals that he's a member of the Iris Network and this mission was a test,
If you decide to join us, rendezvous at the Akuda Bar. Ask for peepers.
and asks Jade to meet him at the Akuda Bar in the pedestrian district. Jade is then offered a job as a reporter to investigate into the matter.
We need someone to take over the mission, Jade. You can't refuse.
Continue.
Her target of investigation, Nutripel's factory, where she discovers evidence of human trafficking orchestrated by Doms under the Alpha Section's authority. Along the way, she rescues.
Double H?
Not sure.
At the same time, Paige gets abducted and taken away. Remember those pearls? We need these to unlock new abilities. Basically, pearls are the main currency behind which all the major items are locked to progress further in-game.
They'd even blocked off this passage.
Jade is joined by Double H in her quest to find Paige at the slaughterhouse, but they fail to extract Paige in time.
Let me out of here! Slave drivers!
Jade learns Paige is in fact the secret chief of Iris Network. Jade also learns that Alpha sections are being possessed by the Doms, and kidnapped victims are transferred to the base on the moon. Using Beluga, the spaceship, Jade and Double H go to the lunar base. There, Jade finds Paige dead after weeks of torture, but a strange power inside her brings back his soul. After rescuing Paige, Jade manages to transmit her report, sparking a revolution against the Alpha sections.
Los Alpha Section are traitors.
The Alpha sections are the ones who've been kidnapping the Hillians and taking them to the Doms.
A final battle ensues between Doms and the people of Hillis, while Jade fights this final boss and defeats it. And just like that, the game ends with a happy ending. Although the game got stellar reviews, it was not a commercial success. The game saw poor sales upon its release. Critics attributed the poor sales of the game to an oversaturated market and labeled Beyond Good and Evil as a commercial disappointment. The game was launched almost with zero marketing build-up, as if Ubisoft themselves had little faith in the game. Well, it's a big shame, as the game is relatively fun and enjoyable. Beyond Good and Evil is one of the best games of this genre that I happen to come across.
Hey, Jed, where you been hiding?
The game has a good storyline with decent twists and turns to keep you entertained with its world. Staying true to Ansel's dream, the game world actually gives the player a feeling of exploration. The game world is a mix of open areas and some linear sections, which is quite unique for a game like Beyond Good and Evil. For example, the lighthouse island where Jade lives has a lively feel to it. Then there's the Canal City, which has a Mediterranean vibe to it and is bustling with life.
It's getting too risky, Jade.
Then Slaughterhouse and Factory's atmosphere gives off a dark, disturbing and sinister vibe. And the moon resembles something completely devoid of life. The planet of Hillis is mostly ocean, and Jade gets to and from levels via her trusty hovercraft. Hillis is a peaceful planet where all sorts of species coexist and live together. While exploring the world, we can also interact with them. Further, we can seamlessly travel anywhere in the world as long as we are not on a mission. In the quest of making the game world interesting, devs added lots of side quests and mini-games. Also included are some not so obvious routes that lead to hidden military complexes with rewards. Now, Jade is no Lara Croft. She does not blast her way into places and knock enemies out with bazookas. She's quite thoughtful and with her trusty camera unravels the dark mysteries of the game. Although the game is presented in a light-hearted manner, even with that, the game touches a lot of mature subjects. Some of the themes include cooperation, family and friendship,
Still no power?
Nope.
propaganda,
Traitors from the Hydras wish to destroy us completely.
and investigative journalism. Jade, through her camera and investigative skills, uncovers the true face of Alpha sections to the masses, resulting in revolution by the end of the game. This effect can be seen as the game progresses. After each report, more and more people start demonstrating at the city square against the Alpha sections.
Alpha sections, Patrol 21, all's clear. You may go up without fear.
Other themes included are authoritarianism, misinformation, and freedom of press. This scene happens very early on in the game and highlights how the media is also bought for by the Alpha sections.
Miss, a word for our listeners.
Yeah, well, you guys are not what I'd call as fast as a speeding bullet. Keep doing nothing.
After saving the lighthouse, Jade is being interviewed by a press reporter and Paige interrupts the interview by being critical of the government, at which point, reporter cuts the interview short and leaves. Beyond Good and Evil also tackles some deeper and darker themes like human trafficking and human rights. A lot of these themes are presented indirectly in a show don't tell fashion. You will infiltrate a human trafficking facility where horrors of the trade echo from cages instead of being delivered explicitly in dialogue. In short, it paints a very dark background to counterbalance the jokes and light-hearted humor present in the actual dialogue. Balancing act that the game pulled off brilliantly. This also serves as a way to make Jade's character shine even more in the face of adversity. Game is old school and does not spoon-feed players solving the puzzles. It's nice to discover the mysteries of the game on your own instead of being directed what to do. Another addition that helps the overall game is being rewarded for taking pictures of the animal life in Hillis. It's a fun idea that really fits as Jade takes pictures for evidence throughout the game.
WWTAO, we work together as one.
Carlson and Peters, page 823.
The voice acting is spot on for Jade as well as supporting cast, although it's not present for all dialogues. Apart from the problems I already mentioned with this port, there are some minute issues that still have not been ironed out. Firstly, not everything has seen an upgrade. These things still seem like low resolution and out of place in this otherwise stellar upscale game. The new version surprisingly still uses loading, and without SSD it is quite noticeable. Then there's this issue of having to hear this annoying voice that keeps repeating the same thing over and over again.
Starkos restores 1 heart of your energy.
Lastly, the game is on the easier side with no option for hard mode. The only challenge that you would end up facing are game's frustrating control scheme and camera angles. Beyond Good and Evil is a fun little game that does not take itself too seriously. It manages to tackle some real-world complex topics with light humor. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Beyond Good and Evil is a very good game, though sadly it never got the recognition it deserved. And now, through this remaster, we can once again access the planet of Helios without those pesky bugs. It's a otherwise perfect game if not for that UB launcher on PC. So for my final thoughts, if you already have this game on Steam, like me, then trust me, you're not missing out on much. It's the same game with upscaling, and the port is still not that user friendly for PC. So wait for the game to go on sale. Thanks for watching.